Voter excitement.
Registering voters in big, huge numbers. They have been gaining in party registration versus the Democrats in the swing states with party registration. We're talking Arizona. I think it's a 5-point. They've expanded their lead from 5 points from where it was back in 2020. How about Nevada? Big Republican registrations there. They like the early vote. How about North Carolina? Big Republican registration games. How about Pennsylvania? We spoke about it before a few months ago. Big Republican Party registration gains versus from where they were 4 years ago. So Republicans are putting more Republicans in the electorate. Wow. The Democratic number versus the Republican number has shrunk. And so the bottom line is, if Republicans win, come next week, Donald Trump comes next week, the signs all along will have been obvious. We would look at the right direction being very low, Joe Biden's approval rating being very low, and Republicans really registering numbers. You can't say you weren't warned.
Again, this is the data which supports the idea of a Trump victory.
Tom, do you
tomorrow.
agree? You were her campaign manager. So the entire bulk of her speech was twice, prices twice, middle class twice, although those were 24/7. Let me throw some numbers at you. You're always facts. You're never feelings. You're a rock.
Okay.
Sure. Listen, she mentioned Trump 23 times.
Yeah.
She mentioned inflation 0 times. She mentioned economy 1 time. Talked about money twice, prices twice, middle class twice, although those were about her, and financial stuff 3 times. So the entire bulk of her speech was Trump, Trump, Trump. This cannot be a good formula for winning. Just factually, if you were her campaign manager, would this be the numbers you'd want that were all you talked about with Trump? Does that sound like a winning team's final pledge to America?
What speech? No one's talking about the speech because Joe Biden blew it up.
Yes.
Joe Biden couldn't let Kamala have this moment. This was supposed to be his moment. This was supposed to be his close.
Yep.
And look what he did. He wouldn't let her have it. And this guy's been ruminating about the coup for months. Can't get over it. He's a resentful old man who now Kamala has a restraining order. She's not allowed to go anywhere near this guy. He was within walking distance of this speech. Didn't get a ticket. Ever since he said lock Trump up, they've been quarantining him at the White House.
So he was upset that she was on his lawn.
So she was on his lawn, get off my lawn. And they hand the guy a laptop for a Zoom. Now, you know what Bidens do with laptops. It's not good. You never want to give a Biden a laptop because it's always going to be a disaster. So he gets out there on the Zoom and just screws up her closing message. And what is she going to do now? Everyone's talking about this. Let's say the nice things. Okay, here are the nice things. Her hair looked great. I agree. The lighting was perfect. But I have sources there that said she walked out on the stage and no one cared. And my source is Johnny. He was at the Ellipse. And she's talking about there was 100,000 people there. He said there was 30. And you know how they got 30, Tyrus?
Buses.
Bus lists.
Wow.
He overheard these
Facts.
2 women talking
Facts.
about, are you on the bus list? Oh, I'm on the bus list. And so what they do, if you're a government worker in Washington, you get on a bus list, they have your cell, they have your address, and then you just say yes, and then the buses come in and they pick you up and they bring you to political rallies. That's how they get people in the stands for this. The 2 pillars of her speech were ridiculous. 1, Trump's a fascist. 2, she's going to bring the country together and solve problems.
But
2 biggest lies anyone's ever heard.
Mm-hmm. Dana, you've been on the other side of this. You've been in the political war rooms and stuff like that. Does this sound like a team that's winning? Or is it
the United States Supreme Court with the intention they would undo the protections of Roe v. Wade?
Once again, not a yes or a no there. Harris was caught on a hot mic yesterday talking to Governor Gretchen Whitmer. She appeared to acknowledge that she's not doing well with men.
Yeah. Oh, we have microphones and I was listening to everything. Oh, I didn't realize that. Okay. So, well,
You'll
now
bleep
you tell
my
us.
F words.
We just told all the family secrets.
So far, though, we have not seen a big shift in strategy. She's going to appear here with the singer Maggie Rogers tonight to rally the base in another Democratic stronghold. Kaylee.
Jackie, thank you. Now, Tammy, this Axios report that says Biden's holding days open in his calendar only to cancel them because the campaign is not giving him days. Yeah. They call this, quote, a slow-moving breakup. Here's the problem. It may be a slow-moving breakup, But you got 8 days till the election, so this breakup better quicken.
Better hurry up. The recognition that he's a reminder about how bad the last 4 years were is the confession. Of course it's been bad. She's part of it, and that's why the effort has been made to make it seem as though she's been dropped by Venus onto the planet. And the insult of this, he clearly was not making day-to-day decisions. This was a program that the Democrats had him move through, and now he's going to be thrown, once again, under the bus. Wow. When she represents that category in the party, that wing, and he's the bad guy, from the beginning they must have been furious. But I will say that he and Jill, they made a decision. They said, okay. He could have said no. He didn't say no. He said, okay. That was his mistake. He should never have dropped out. He had the power of the presidency. Wow. They threatened him with something. We don't know exactly what.
25th Amendment after that June 27th debate?
If you can win and be the president, you should have been able to overcome Nancy freaking Pelosi. Yeah. And he couldn't. So I don't feel so sorry for him, but this is ugly. And it's not just that relationship. It's within the Democratic Party itself.
You know, Jerry, you can tell a lot by who's talking to the press. And notably in July, the Biden White House, which has been very good about not leaking, was all leaking to the press. The campaign was all over the map. But now I'm noticing this interesting dynamic. You get a Kamala source saying one thing, and then you get a Biden White House source saying a different thing, meaning there's some acrimony there. And this is a perfect example. This was about the trip to Pittsburgh that Biden made.
You got to stop thinking that the people who support Trump are like Trump, that they speak like Trump, that they act like Trump. They don't. They want to hire Trump to do a dirty job. They want him to be a virus to the political corpus. They want him to disrupt, to destroy, to demean those that they disrespect and dislike, the system that they distrust and despise. They want someone to do what they believe has been done to them and that they cannot do themselves. That's why they don't care that he exhibits terrible behavior, because they're putting him into a terrible place. If you're sending somebody into the jungle, do you really care if they're a savage? You see what I'm saying? And you have to understand it that way. You may not agree, you may not accept, you may not like, but that's what it is.
They see him differently.
I think it's brilliant. I think it's brilliant.
Yes.
I think when you have somebody who is a world-famous superstar, who's a billionaire, et cetera, and they do something you don't expect, it's brilliant media. And I think we got to acknowledge that this guy is beating the pants off of us with these so-called publicity stunts. It gets into everybody's feeds, and people who are not looking at politics will look at that. I think we just have to have more fun ourselves. We were having a great time during the Democratic convention. If we have more fun, if the Democratic Party is a party of fun, people will join it. We should be doing crazy stuff too.
And if I might add,
yeah, you are doing crazy stuff, like convincing men that they can be women.
It's like, don't immediately just go to, I hate him for that.
Yeah.
Which is but everybody I know here in Hollywood does that. And it's like, you're first of all, you look weak. You look weak. You look like you're so easily gotten.
Yes.
You know, you look like you overreact to anything.